Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Arrow After Show, Season 3, Episode number 1. We are back, and we are so glad you decided to join us tonight. As you guessed, this is the Arrow After Show. We're here to talk about all things Arrow. My name is John Campia. I am going to be your most esteemed and wonderful host for the evening. We're so glad that you're here tonight. I want to introduce the two ladies joining me, just like last season. First of all, on my left...
Hey everybody, it's Ann Campia. I thought it's the appropriate time to hood up tonight. What's up, Arrowheads?
Hood up, I like that. And of course, sitting on my other side.
Hello, Cortike over here.
And yeah, I said left and my other side. I do know the other side is right, so I just wanted to point that out. Hey guys, welcome back to Arrow, and all I gotta say is, what the fuck? Holy crap, Episode 1, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a little bit nervous it might suck. I was a little, but I always feel that way with a great TV show, though. I'm always nervous that the next season is going to drop the ball. Remember, I felt that way about Season 2? Like after Season 1, the cliffhanger was so great at the end of Season 1, I was really worried Season 2 was going to be terrible. It was a great first episode. But listen, before we get into tonight's episode, I want to just update you guys a little bit on some of the stuff that we've done this summer, in between the seasons. You know, we've actually had a chance to meet and hang out a little bit with some of the cast of Arrow. This first picture I want to bring up and show you guys, this was at Comic-Con. Of course, there's Anne as Arrow with Deathstroke himself, with Manu Bennett, who was on my panel that I did at Comic-Con this year. And speaking of that panel, let's bring up the next picture here. This is Manu on my panel with me. I can't remember what I said, but he jumped out of his chair and started to choke me out. So obviously me and Manu got along really great. But also at Comic-Con this year, Kaori had a chance to run into one of her favorites.
Yes, Colton Haynes, of course, looking sexy in this weird leather shirt.
You and Roy hanging out. All right, well, listen, let's get into it. Let's talk about Season 1. Here's how we break this down, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about things we loved about this episode, a little bit about things that maybe we thought the episode could have done better, and then we're going to save a few minutes at the end to take your live Twitter questions. So if you're watching us live right now, or even if you're watching us pre-recorded, you can tweet questions to us anytime using the hashtag Arrow After Show. So once again, tweet to us with the hashtag. You see it down right here, the hashtag Arrow After Show. Send that in to us, and I got my little tablet. We're going to be taking your questions here in just a little bit. But let's start with tonight's episode. Season 1 picks up 5 months after the cliffhanger of last season. And let's start with you. What are some of the things that worked for you with this episode?
Well, I think what absolutely worked for me is that it definitely did pick up from Season 2. It was almost like Season 2 could have just continued into this episode, and this would have been episode 24 or whatever it would have been for Season 2. I thought it set a good foundation for the season. Up until the last 15 minutes, I was like, where are they going with the season? We knew that they were going to start with Oliver, Felicity, and Diggle in a whole new situation, finding themselves broke, you know, having to get jobs, whatever. But the last 15 minutes really tied it up for me, and the fact that they set up the big bad for this season. We don't know who it is. I want to know who you guys think it is, who you guys think it is.
Oh, there are tons of theories coming in on Twitter right now.
But I think they did a really good job of leaving us with a cliffhanger for the rest of Season 3.
Carrie, what are some things stood out to you that you really liked about this episode?
I liked a lot of things. You guys might go against me, but I'm happy that Sara kind of died. I was a little upset when she survived, and I was like, what? Because we got Laurel and her blonde hair, and she's getting there. Definitely excited about Adam coming our way.
Brandon Routh?
He did a really good job there. I really liked that. And I liked the little tease of Felicity and Oliver getting together. It was just enough, because I didn't want them to get together, but it was just enough for us to get enticed by that. Everything's well thought out. I love this episode. It was really good first episode.
Right. I'm going to start with one of your points, Brandon Routh coming in and joining the cast. I love this addition. I've been a huge Brandon Routh fan ever since Superman Returns, and even in the smaller stuff that he's appeared in since. I thought he was really great in Chuck. The character he played in Chuck I thought was wonderful. I thought he was insanely hilarious in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I thought he was really fun. I just like him in everything he's in. I've actually had a chance to hang out with Brandon Routh actually a couple times, and I've got a picture here. I throw a party every year at Comic-Con, And Brandon was really kind enough to come and show up to that party with us. You can see us talking here. For whatever reason, it looks like I'm giving him instructions on how to give a blowjob, but I promise you that is not what I'm doing in
You
that
have
picture.
an invisible microphone in
I
your
have an
hand.
invisible microphone in my hand. That's exactly what I'm doing, yeah. And he instantly, when Brandon Routh showed up in the episode, he instantly filled the screen with
Totally
his
did.
charm and his charisma. And I think him as Adam,
Yep.
is going to, I think that adds a really cool new dynamic. Stephen Amell continues to evolve as an actor, and we're seeing more and more dimensions and more depth to him as we go. So I was very, very excited about that. I was going to say one of the best parts of this episode was the fact that Sara came back. That was, to me, the super exciting, great. I love her character. I love what she brings to the show. And then, the ending happened. So there's that as well. I'm sure as we go on with this episode, I'm going to think of a bunch of other things that I really loved about it. It was nice. I really did like what you were saying there, though. It didn't feel like episode 1 of season 3. This felt like it could have just been the next episode. That said 5 months later, and that's a good thing. As Stormare, what's the actor's name who played the new...
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare. He's great. He's right now, he's the villain in Blacklist.
I know.
So he's popping up all over the place as
That
villains.
tripped me out for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him. He's been one of these great, solid character actors in Hollywood for a long time. He's like in a million movies. So it's really great to see him pop up there. Yeah, so Diggle was great in the episode.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about the Felicity angle right now, but we'll talk about that and the things that we thought they could have done better. So let's get into the things they could have done better. Carrie, let's start with you on this point. What are some of the things in this episode that maybe didn't hit it out of the park for you?
Honestly, I'm going to say Roy Harper, and I
What? You love Roy.
I love Roy Harper, but it just felt kind of just bland in that moment. He was doing a lot, but he wasn't doing much, and yeah, I mean that's my big disappointment because I love him so much that I was quite disappointed with his character.
And you got any things that stood out to you?
Yeah, I actually didn't mind Roy in this episode, now
Ooh.
that you talk about him. Only because I feel like they want to set it up that there's time that has passed,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean, I don't think he should have been as skillful as he was with the bow and arrow, per se, but I think time has passed. He's trained. He's gotten to be buddies with the team, with Team Arrow, so I can see him kind of fitting in and finding him useful in this episode. I like that he didn't have any lines
He had
in this
no
episode,
lines.
so that was okay too. He served a purpose.
Yeah, come on. He said, I got this. He
That
did
was
say
it.
that. Said it with great conviction, too. Anyway, go on.
So I didn't mind him, and I know we're in the negatives part, but I did not mind Roy in this episode. I think that they are likely to go back in a future episode and tell us how he got to be the way he is now with the costume and everything. So in terms of what was bad, I think just nitpicking at stuff like, obviously, why didn't Arrow take Felicity to the hospital when he could have?
I know. We're all saying,
Yes.
like, wait, why did he bring her to the basement? Why is she not in the hospital?
Yeah.
It was almost selfish of him to say, well, I don't want to be questioned by the police. Well, they wouldn't question you if you just dropped
You were
Felicity
out
off at the
having dinner.
hospital, right?
Yeah.
And she did heal pretty quickly.
And
too.
she did heal.
He
pretty-
runs out, comes back 10 minutes later, and she's got her glasses on, no scars, hair is perfect,
Well,
where's all the blood?
Even before that, he's like, I'm going to call Felicity when he needed her help.
Yeah.
Didn't she just snap out of a coma or whatever from that explosion? I don't know. I'm just nitpicking here. But the other thing was, I just thought it was really easy for Count Vertigo to get into the stadium and set up that bomb. I thought it was just
In clear view down the hall of
yeah,
everybody
there was
in the arena.
nobody around.
Like you could see the boxing match happening from where he was standing.
Exactly.
It was a clear line of
So,
sight.
obviously, I just have to kind of suspend belief in that one. But the biggest negative for me is Sara being dead. Because like you, John, I loved Sara. I thought she was a great character. I was surprised to see her in the premiere. And obviously, there was a reason for her being in this episode, was to kind of set up the catalyst for Laurel becoming Black Canary. I'm sad that it happened so soon.
Yeah, I will start my negatives as I often do on this show with Roy. And where I was kind of joking in the car. It's like, yeah, I picked up a bow and arrow for the first time in my life 5 months ago, and now I'm a world-class archer. I can, take out tires on the cars and moving thing, just like that. I'm a highly elite ninja archer, just like that. I mean, that's that whole thing is really frustrating to me that they do stuff like that. The whole Felicity thing, that was just so, there was no logic to that, but that's cool. That the new Vertigo was also a warrior ninja on the level of Deathstroke, going toe-to-toe with Arrow and, almost besting Arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, that felt a little bit weird. How come we haven't heard about this guy before? But whatever. These are nitpicking things. The important thing, though, is for me is that in the story arc, I found no weaknesses in the story arc. I mean, obviously, Oliver, we're continuing his character evolution and the emotional stages he's going through. He's still developing and growing. Like, he was away for 5 years. He's gone, and I like in that dinner scene with him and Felicity, he re-emphasized the fact that he's been through a lot of crap, that he's still processing. He still hasn't faced all the demons from all that time away. And I think that's a good thing. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole Hong Kong angle yet. I wasn't sure at the end of season 2 how I felt about that, but who knows? Let's see where this goes and how much they evolve that and how much they expand on that. So that could be really interesting. But I mean, a lot of these little things are just details and nitpicking. I am so sad that they killed off Sara, though.
Me too.
And it highlights, one of the things that highlights for me is because when Sara showed back up, I'm like, oh, thank God, not just because she's one of my favorite characters and she's back. I remember thinking, oh, thank God, this means they're at least going to put off this stupid notion of Laurel becoming Black Canary. Because I'm going to stick with what I said before. The episode that Laurel becomes Black Canary is the episode I stop watching Arrow. Because it is so ridiculous and it is such a stupid thing to do that if they follow through with this, I'm going to stop watching Arrow because it's too much for me to handle.
Well, look, to be fair, I know it looks stupid because Laurel's kind of frail and
She's a weak little
but-
frail nothing.
But, I mean, we have faith in the writers, and I can
Yes.
see that they can do something with this. So that's why I'm thinking she may have potential. And we all know that I'm not normally a Katie Cassidy fan,
Right.
but I think it could possibly happen. And that being said, when I saw Sara come in, I'm thinking 5 months, she gave her the black jacket, and she comes back. Why? So I'm kind of
Because she's
happy.
awesome. That's why.
To die.
And they kind of shared
Exactly.
that moment too. Like Ollie was in a place where, look, I can't love because, I took someone out on a date, explosion off, I can't love. And then she comes back and they have that one moment on the rooftop and it's like you saw hope come back into Oliver.
True.
So, which was a really well acted scene, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about that. But you know what, to your point, if they do something extreme, like in between season 3 and 4 or in between season 4 and 5, I hope they push this off a long time. But they say 4 years has passed. And at some point, Laurel goes and seeks out the League of Assassins to understand more what her sister went through. And then she trains with the League of Assassins for 4 or 5 years, and Arrow picks up 4 or 5 years later. Fine. Then I'm in. Then you're explaining why suddenly she's a tough girl. But if they just go, to avenge my sister, I'm going to become the new Black Canary,
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, okay, I'm checking out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I
But-
have to think that they are going that way with this season because
I hope so.
why would they start with Sarah's death if Laurel's not going to become Black Canary by the end of the season?
Oh, I hope
Or
not.
at least show glimpses of her becoming that character.
But I do want to read this tweet. One of the viewers, David Fisher, tweeted this in. I thought this was an incredible tweet. He wrote in, Tommy died so Laurel had a reason to be in season 2. Kate Spencer died so Laurel could have her job. Now Sara dies so she can become Black Canary. How many more characters have to die just to make Laurel relevant? That's a little harsh.
You guys did notice that her hair was getting blonder and blonder.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And if you
Yes.
guys follow her on Instagram, maybe I'm the only one, she's getting really ripped.
She's getting buff.
Oh, she's in good. The actress is in great
so
shape.
physically, she's transforming. Let's see if the character can get there too.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, guys? We said we would save some time here and take your Twitter questions, so that's what we're going to do right now. If you're watching us live, you still have some time. Tweet in your questions to the hashtag #ArrowAfterShow. And listen, don't just tweet if you're watching live. Even if you're watching this pre-recorded, send it on in because we collect the questions and we respond to a lot of them on Twitter too during the week. So I already read that great tweet from David. So let's go to this one. This from Ty Williams. I'm sorry. I found Roy to be great in this episode due to his lack of lines. Okay, so there was that.
Okay.
But I will. But remember, as much as I've been against Roy, the last episode or 2 of last season, I actually started warming up to Roy.
Because he wasn't there much?
Well, because he wasn't there much, but
was passed out.
I felt like they were using him a little bit better, and Let's just say I'm still open-minded about Roy.
Well, there's a layer of him because we still have yet to see how he's feeling about Thea and her disappearance, and we'll see.
And
how
I'm
that
glad
goes.
you brought that up because they mentioned Thea very briefly in this episode, saying that she was across country.
Yeah, so
or
clearly
something.
she's still in. We're going to
Yes.
see her at some point because we still got to see Merlin. I cannot wait to see the role that Merlin plays. But okay, let's get on to the next question. The next question comes from Carly Liner, and she tweets in, "So who do you think killed Sara?" I mean, the big obvious answer to this is Ra's al Ghul, right? Like that's the obvious answer. But it's so obvious, it kind of makes me feel like it's not. The other thing that makes me feel like it's not is that when Sara turns to whoever it was that killed her, there wasn't a lot of fear. There wasn't anything. It was just, what are you doing here?
Familiarity.
And then arrow, arrow, arrow.
Right.
I don't think it was Merlin. I don't think it was Deathstroke. It's just so obvious that it's Ra's al Ghul that I gotta think it's not Ra's al Ghul.
I feel like it has to be someone she trusts because she was caught off guard.
Yeah.
What
It
if
wasn't Nisa.
That's what I was gonna say.
know?
What if
Well,
it was
the voice was
her?
totally wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How
they
many
should
of you
have
are
it
going to go back
off.
and rewind that and listen to the voice? That's what I want to know.
Like,
Just the
so
voice itself.
Who do you think? Do you have any
Barry
theories?
Allen.
Barry Allen killed her.
Exactly.
I'm going to be the #1 show on CW, damn it.
Wait, by the way, can I just bring that up as a negative though? Is that I kind of wish Flash came after Arrow because you see Arrow make the cameo in Flash, and then you see Arrow.
Yeah.
And then the lead Barry in Arrow calling.
Yeah,
You know
so
what
now
I'm
we
saying? It's kind
understand
of
the
out of order.
timeline. Yeah, so now we
Yeah.
understand the timeline a little bit about how that all came about.
Right.
I got to read this tweet because this is great. Brad Donovan, who must have been watching me since way back in my movie blog days, he wrote, "Does John Campea give the season 3 premiere of Arrow a Routh?" I got to tell you this story.
That's funny.
You know what this means,
do
right?
know that.
Okay, so here's the story about this. Way back in the movie blog days, I used to grade movies on a no, go, or Ralph. One of 3 things, no, go, or Ralph. And where that came from was this. There was a news story, totally true. This is totally true. A story came out back when Superman Returns was being made. And a story came out that some of the executives of Warner Brothers, while watching some test footage of Superman Returns and Brandon Routh, they felt they wanted to digitally use effects to digitally reduce the size of Brandon Routh's package because they said the bulge was a little too big and it was a bit distracting, right? And so me and the guys who were hosting that movie show of mine, a couple of them laughed, said, "Well, I guess you can say that Brandon Routh is the total package." And so then we created this whole movie ranking system of no, don't go to see it, go to see it, or Ralph. This movie is the total package. So obviously, Brad has been watching me since way back then. So yeah, and yes, I would give the season premiere of Arrow season 3 a Ralph, just for the record. Okay, this one comes from Tom Snow, and I'm so glad somebody pointed this out. What did you think about Arrow's bow foldable contraption? Remember, he's walking to the restaurant, and all of a sudden, this big compact bow like suddenly folds up into something the size of a credit card. Remember that? What did you think about that?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. There's some nice upgrades in season 3.
Yeah,
You
I
got
totally
that,
agree.
and the quartet, which kind of, I don't know if Diggle's going to be part of this now.
Oh, he will. Something bad's gonna happen to Diggle's baby.
Yeah.
Yes. You're the only. I'm not the only one who thought that.
No, I
Really
think.
sad.
Well, I think it will be Diggle who is saving the baby or something. But sure. Something
Yeah, I
bad's
think something's going to happen to make him very angry and very vengeful.
Yep.
Or something's going to happen where the baby's life was threatened and he comes back to Arrow and says, you don't understand, keep me on the sidelines isn't for my family. I need to fight to protect my family or something like that. Something that Diggle would say in that really cool Diggle voice.
I did like the confrontation between Oliver Queen and Diggle when he wanted to go on his side and he said, "No, I'm done with you." And Diggle was saying, "Look, man, I saved your life 10 times," whatever. I liked that confrontation there.
And how fortuitous that he made his the arrival of his baby because Oliver told him to stay back.
Right.
What a
Exactly.
coincidence.
What did we guys, a couple of people are tweeting in this, what did you think about the dropping of the name Star City? For those of you in
Good.
the DC Comics, that's the name of that's actually the name of the city.
Did they finally get the rights to the name? Is that why?
What I want to know, how does the CEO of a company get to decide he's going to name a city? Hey, guys, I want to become the new CEO of this company. If the first thing I do is I'm going to rename this city. It's like, wait, you don't have the power to do that. But okay, whatever. That works. Did you guys notice that, though?
The city's in shambles. Maybe you could
Yeah.
just name it whatever you want. I don't know. Yeah, that was interesting.
It was.
Glad
Some
they're going
changes.
closer to the comic, though.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, this is an interesting tweet. Thomas Zara writes in. He says, "What if Oliver killed Sara as a lingering effect of the new Vertigo drug?"
I don't think so. That would be crazy.
I don't think so either at all. But that would be nuts.
Crazy
That would
theory.
be a crazy.
Because that would make him have an evil lair that we haven't yet kind of seen. And I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Well, we've seen in Arrow drugs, whatever type of drug, whether it's Mirakuru specifically or others, can take somebody and drive them mad, drive them crazy. I also agree with you guys. I don't think that's what they're doing, but it is a really interesting, theory. Jake Barrouse writes, do you think Ray will get his power this season?
We were talking about that on the way here, and I have to think that they will stay off of superpowers as much as
For now?
possible.
Well, I'm considering the Flash kind of has superpowers. I think
They've
it might
already
be
kind of gone there a
possible.
little
But-
bit.
For
they
a guy to shrink in the show.
They explain.
Oh, I
they
thought dirty
explain
there.
it scientifically. Like Ray Palmer. For those of you who don't know, Brandon Routh's character Ray Palmer, he is the superhero Ant-Man. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean the Atom. He's the superhero, the Atom, who collects like the remnants of a white star, of a white dwarf, and he's able to harness the power to manipulate cells, and he can shrink and grow and make his fists as hard as concrete and all that kind of stuff. He can shrink to the size of an ant and maintain his regular human strength. Ant-Man. Anyway.
Ant-Man.
I have a feeling he already has those powers right now.
Oh, you think maybe he showed up and he's already got them?
Yeah, I feel like that he does, yeah. I don't know.
My theory is that he does not have the powers yet, but he will. No, he won't have them by end of season. I think he's got a role to play right now in the story of Star City and Oliver and Queen Consolidated, whatever name of Queen's company
And
is.
Felicity.
And Felicity. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
totally forgot about that. Is this clearly Felicity's next love interest?
Yes.
I think so.
Barry's gone. Yes.
There's going to be some
For sure.
jealousy in there.
You could already kind of feel it. You could, the tension there definitely was there.
Because he's smart and she's attracted to, intelligence, and Oliver already kind of shunned the relationship, so big possibility.
I'm glad we came back to that too. I was uncomfortable with them going in that direction of him and Felicity because one of the things I've really liked about, and I know I'm ticking off a lot of Olicity fans, but I love their relationship because it was not the romance relationship. And that's part of the reason why I like their dynamic and their relationship and their chemistry so much, even though Felicity had this unrequited crush on him, and she would have the best one-liners, like sexual innuendo one-liners in the show. She was great at it, and I felt like if they go in the direction of an actual romance between the two, it kills it. And then where do you go from there? Like, if once they actually become an item, where do you go after that? I'm not sure, and I think they would have been painting themselves into a corner. So I felt like it almost feels to me like Guggenheim felt like we have to address this because clearly there's affection between the two of them. Okay, I get that. So let's address this and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, say they did try to explore it, they turned it off, and now in this same episode, look, it's Brandon Routh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Felicity's getting all batty-eyed
And the
again.
Olicity fans got their kiss. So it's cool,
I think it's
there it
perfect.
is.
That
They
was-
did it so well.
That was really well done.
So she's like hooking up. She's a little superhero slut because she's. I just pissed everybody off. Not nowhere near as big of a slut as Oliver is though, because now she's hooked up with, in a way, like emotionally hooked up with Arrow,
Yeah.
Flash, Atom. Who's next? Who's the next superhero in
Well,
town
I
that she
have
can
to
hook up with?
believe she's a pretty powerful superhero herself. In the making,
You think so?
yes.
I hope they don't. I love her the way she is.
She is Felicity Smoke.
Here's one of the great things about Felicity, okay? And I love this, is that she is incredibly integral to this team and the whole plot and narrative. Like Arrow, Diggle, all of them, they cannot do what they do. And that's what I love about the Trinity. None of the three of them can do what they do without any one of the other three. But Felicity is a key part of that. She is a strong, intelligent, powerful, despite her on the surface meekness, strong, intelligent, powerful, sophisticated, brave, courageous woman, and she doesn't need superpowers to be that. And you don't see a lot of these types of characters, particularly female characters, aren't given that type of role unless there's super strength or ninja skills or whatever associated with. With her, it's just brains, wit, charm, personality, intelligence, all that kind of stuff, all rolled into this incredible package that I feel like there's not enough of these types of characters on TV. And so that's one of the reasons I hope she doesn't get superpowers.
Well said.
Because I think it kind of undermines that a bit. Especially now that Moira Queen's gone. Because Moira Queen was kind of that archetype of the powerful woman character, right? And now she's gone. So all we got is Felicity, and I think she needs to carry that mantle. Anyway, I'm sorry, I was rambling. Okay, so Undercover Ginger. Is that what's his name's Twitter handle? Who's your
Ed
favorite?
Sheeran?
Is that Ed Sheeran's Twitter handle? I don't know. Do you think we will ever see Green Lantern cameo or mentioned?
I don't think for a long time. I don't see it in the near future.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever
Yeah.
going to cross anything from the movies over. What do you think, Ann?
They got enough superhero names as it is that they've casted for this
They've
season.
casted so many people
don't think so.
already. Yeah.
Kaylee E. writes, I want Felicity to become Oracle in the TV and comic book universe. Oracle's a very interesting role for her, actually. For those of you who don't know, Oracle, I believe that the first Oracle was Barbara Gordon, the former Batgirl who was shot and paralyzed by the Joker, and then she kind of became the brains of all superhero activity, especially the Batman family. From her, did she call it the Watchtower? I think from the Watchtower, she oversees everything. She's the integral, and she already kind of plays that Oracle role. It would be interesting to see if they take her in that direction, because Smallville was Chloe kind of became the Oracle. She had the Watchtower. So it's not like it has to be Barbara Gordon, because we know that we're not going to see Batman characters per se in Batman proper characters in Arrow. So that's always possible. Do you see her, either of you guys see her becoming something like Oracle?
I think it's,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's very possible. Again, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It'll be in the seasons further down the line.
That's kind of what I was hinting at, is that she could potentially become Oracle. And we all know that there's going to be an episode dedicated to seeing Felicity's backstory in the season. So I imagine maybe we will see some relationship with her parents and kind of get to that point where we could potentially see her becoming Oracle.
This is interesting. Zachary Cullen writes in, I think Roy killed Sara, and he will end up being a large villain. Now, wait a minute. Now, this may not be as crazy as... Because remember, her reaction to a dude on the roof was kind of what her reaction would have been if it was Roy. It is 3 arrows stuck in her, and maybe he's not as over the Mirakuru as everybody thinks.
But what would be his reasoning to kill her?
We'd have to find out.
I think that we would have to find out. Once again, much like the other theory, I don't actually think this is what the case is, but I think there's merit to this. I think there's some...
Except for the fact that Roy cannot aim an arrow.
Well, apparently the first, he took out the truck pretty good. 5 months is all you need to become an Olympic-style archer. Okay. Anyway, any other thoughts? Let's wrap it up here. And just summing it up, your overall impressions of Season 3, Episode 1.
I thought they killed it with the season premiere. I thought they left us with a cliffhanger, and we are ready to see the rest of the season through. So I'm completely happy. And hood up, everybody.
Hood up. Is that your new thing?
Yes.
Hood up? All right, I like it.
Hood up. I'm very pleased with this episode. It was a great season premiere. I'm sorry. I like that they cliff-hung on Black Canary dying. I thought it was a great way to just get it started, get it going for purposes of us being in shock.
Right.
A little iffy about the backstory right now, like the history with them with Japanese characters. I don't see where that's going, but I'm curious, and they've definitely got me interested and intrigued by what's going to happen next.
It's a terrific first episode. It really, really is. And as much as I hate that they killed Sara, and it was pretty clear to me that she was dead. This wasn't a Detective Lance thing where he drops and then, just an episode you realize he was fine after all. I think they made it pretty clear she's dead. They wanted to put an exclamation mark on it. 3 arrows into her, fall 7 stories, land half on a dumpster, and have your eyes wide open laying on the concrete. Okay, so she's dead. But I will confess, look, it opens up a lot of narrative possibilities here. I think Oliver, who's starting to feel a little bit of hope again, he's going to be pissed. He's going to be pissed. I think this is going to push him over a real edge. I mean, it's not that long ago they lost his mother, but we said this at the end of season 1 when they killed Tommy. It's, you never know who's, I swear, like Diggle could die the next episode. That's one of the things I love about this show. They are not, don't get too attached. It's like Sons of Anarchy that way. Don't get too attached to your favorite characters because they could die tomorrow. Maybe I'll get lucky and Laurel die next one. I don't know. No, you know what? I once again,
No Roy.
like Laurel, Laurel has, remember last season, the second half of last season, because the first half of last season, I was so, just do not put the Laurel character on screen. It's dead weight. But by we got into the either the second half or the last third of the season, she started to grow on us again. And I think there is a role for her to play in this show that is not Black Canary, but I think there's a real important and vital role for her to play in this whole thing. So I'm kind of pleased to see where they're going. But I think this season's off to a great start. It's awesome to finish off episode 1 with a great cliffhanger. I cannot wait for next week. So anything else I'm forgetting, guys?
No, I think we, drop your comments and we'll continue the conversation there.
And we will. So guys, don't forget, we will be back again next week. Listen, don't forget, Arrow is a show that deserves far more viewers than it actually gets. Become an Arrow evangelist. Tell everybody you know about the show. Spread the word about how good it is. And hey, why not? Check out the Arrow After Show afterwards as well. So I want to thank, first of all, the two lovely ladies joining me. First of all, Ann Campia. Ann, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me at Ann Campia as well as Corey and I at Team Amazing.
And of course, over on this side, Corey Takei. Corey, where can people find you?
You can find me at KAORIOUS right there on Twitter as well as Instagram and Team Amazing.
And you guys can find me on all the various social media networks, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Just follow me at John Campia. So don't forget, keep tweeting in your questions to us this week. We do respond, well, to some of them. We obviously don't have time to respond to all of them, but we will take track and write some of them down to keep them for next week as well. So keep joining us for the Arrow After Show, coming to you from right here at the Stream.tv, the After Show Fan Network. Thanks so much for being with us this week, guys. So for all of us here on the panel, thank you again for joining us, and until next week, bye-bye.